Well, hello, hello. Welcome to the first ever social media boot camp with Post Planner. I am Rebecca Radice, and I am here with Post Planner CEO Josh Parkinson. And today, as I said, we're kicking off a brand new live training series. This is the first in many more to come, where Josh is going to be walking you through every aspect of the app, so step by step on how to triple your social media engagement. And Josh, I am beyond excited about this for so many different reasons. Obviously, we just had some really big updates within the app, but to get you live here and being able to get inside your head, the brain that created all of this, and really see the why behind everything that's inside the app and how to take all of those terrific tools and use them within our business on a day-to-day is just going to be enormously beneficial to everybody that's here joining us today. So I'm going to let you take it away.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for the intro. So can I see, oh, okay, I see attendees, nice. We got about 81 here. What's up, people? Greetings from San Francisco, the worldwide headquarters of the Post Planner. So
rainy San Francisco today, right?
Yeah, it's raining cats and dogs and other animals, but it's good. We need the water. So yeah, let's jump right in. So we're gonna spend the next several weeks talking about getting into the app itself. But I think that the best way to start is kind of to take a step back and I wanted to start with a story that will give you an idea about strategy and how you can be more data driven in your social media posting. That's kind of the theme of today, is being data driven in your social media posting. So I'm going to kind of start with a story. Back in November, I was up early one morning. I'm kind of an early riser, and one of my favorite things to do when I get up, kind of my routine, is I get up really early. Hopefully I don't wake up my kids and they don't wake up, and I get a good hour in of sitting on the couch before it's light yet, and opening up my iPad mini and going to my Instapaper app, which is like Pocket. Some of you may use Pocket. It's basically where I save all the articles that I find on the internet so I can read them later. I don't like to read things in my browser, so I prefer to send them to Instapaper and read them there. So I'm up in the morning in November reading an article, and I came across this really awesome article that I'd saved, and while reading it, I came across a really cool quote. Now I'm going to share my screen so you can see this. All right, you guys see my screen?
We do.
Okay,
yep.
Cool. So I was reading this article right here by this guy, what's his name? Trent Griffin. Great blog, by the way, here, 25 IQ. Reading this article, and down here at about point number 7, it's like a dozen things I learned from Ben Horowitz. Great article here. Seventh point here, I ran into a quote that was pretty awesome, and it's right here. It said, I'll read it for you. I have a friend who's a venture capitalist, and one day during a press interview in his office, he was asked by a journalist, "What is the secret of your success?" He said, 2 words. "And what are they?" asked the journalist. "Right decisions." "But how do you make right decision?" asked the journalist. "1 word," he responded. "And what is that?" asked the journalist. "Experience." "And how do you get experience?" 2 words. "And what are they?" "Wrong decisions." So I thought this was an awesome quote, great little interaction between this CEO and this journalist. And so I thought, running a social media content company, I thought, man, I gotta put this out on social media. I'm gonna put this out on my personal profile. So I did that, and here is the post. You'll notice that I reformatted it, right, to make it a lot more easy to read, scannable. I put it in each text here in a line, so it was really easy to read. And basically, I got a pretty big result with this post. Actually, the response surprised me. I thought it was a pretty good quote. I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd share it on my personal profile, but I didn't expect a big response. Now, yeah, this is 82 likes or 85 likes, 5 shares, 9 comments. That might not seem like a lot to some of you, but I don't post that much on my personal profile, and I don't get huge engagement on anything except for like pictures of my kids, right? So that's where I get all the engagement. If I post a text post like this or a link, I'll get like 15 likes from some friends and maybe a couple comments. But this one was 82 likes, 9 comments. The comments were pretty enthusiastic. You can see my buddy Emmerich Erno loves it. Andrea Val liked it. So some people in the social media crowd and in my business world liked it as well. And so I thought, wow, this is interesting. This obviously resonated, right? And like I said before, in comparison to my other text posts on my profile, this was basically an outlier, right? And by outlier, I mean that in comparison to those other ones, this one got a lot more engagement. So, I like I said, I post text posts, maybe quotes, interesting facts, etc., things I come across in articles just like this one. I maybe post them 1 to 3 times a month. Sometimes I'll go even a couple months without posting one. And like I said, they usually get around 15 likes, few comments, and shares. So this was definitely an outlier. So I thought, hey, if this is outperformed on my profile to a limited group of friends, I have about 850 friends, then it could possibly go pretty large on our Post Planner fan page, which was about 250,000 fans at the time. So this here is our fan page right here. So I thought, okay, let's try this out. It worked on my profile. Looks like some good content. Let's try it out. So I went to Leanne, who's running the call today, and the team, and I said, hey guys, check this out. Check out this post. It's doing pretty well on my profile. Let's create an image for it and post it on the Post Planner fan page. So Leanne went out and created an image, and she used the basic kind of style that we've been using a lot on our Instagram account, which is a white text in a nice font on a green background. This is kind of our branded Post Planner green. You can see that we post basically every other post recently on our Instagram account. We do with this kind of style of the background green, the font white. So Leanne went out and she created this post, and then I decided I would create one myself too. And I thought we'll have 2 versions of this. We'll try it out. We'll test it out and see what happens. With all the whole time thinking, okay, it outperformed on my own personal profile. I'm going to predict that it's going to outperform on a much larger page to a much larger audience. By the way, one great way to go, and if you need a background for a quote image and you don't want to just use a solid color like the way Leanne did it, the way I did it is I went to this website called pexels.com. This is free imagery that you can just grab and use. So I went here into Pexels, and I think I typed in like ocean or something like that, and I found a good background. You want something that's not you want high contrast with the text, so you got to be careful with stuff like this, for example, because you have a light part here and a dark part here. Anyway, with that in mind, I found a pretty cool image, and I created the post. So we had 2 versions of this content, and we decided to try one on Facebook and the other on Instagram. So let me show you how it did. This here is the post that we put on Facebook. So as you can see, same exact content, the journalist and the CEO having a little conversation with the nice ending, and then Post Planner at the bottom. We posted this on November 18th on our Post Planner fan page, and you can see it did pretty well. We got over 600 likes, about 500 shares, and if you take this away, you can see that we reached about 62,000 people with this post, which isn't too bad. I know you guys know the problem with reach on Facebook, and it's not easy to reach a huge portion compared to your fan base. So out of 250,000 people, to reach 62,000 was pretty good. Let's check out the results of the Instagram post. So here's the post that I created with the background image. You can see I kind of increased the brightness of it to make sure that it was almost all white, and just had the kind of surfer at the bottom. I threw our logo in there on the dark part of the wave so it would be visible, and used kind of the same. I even changed I used italics for the journalist and boldface for the CEO to make it even easier to distinguish between the two, and to make it just really easy to read. And hopefully it was, it had a beauty to it with the background image of the surfer. So that was kind of my strategy going with this image. Same exact content that Leanne posted, same exact content that I posted on my personal profile, but just as an image. And you can see here it did pretty well on our Instagram account. Got about 177 likes. As you see here, we don't. That's pretty good. This one got 206, 101, 134. It did pretty well. It was a high performing post. So, that's all to say that you can predict future performance based on past performance. I started out with this, what we'll call a test on my personal profile. We used the same content, created 2 images, put it out on bigger accounts, and we were able to predict that it did perform pretty well. The results were definitely not bad. So, to remind you, we did decide we wanted to test one on Facebook and one on Instagram, right? We used the green background one on Facebook and my surfer one on Instagram. But then Leanne and I just got together and we decided, hey, let's try the surfer one. Worked pretty well on Instagram, so let's try that on Facebook. But we wanted to give it enough time that people would forget that the last one and not notice that it was the duplicate content in terms of the quote. So we waited a month and we posted the same one on Facebook, the surfer one. And you can see this one performed really well. We reached 407,000 people. We got 1,900 likes, 2,200 shares, and 23 comments. So even bigger engagement than we got with the green one. So this was like the second example of it was first tested. The content was first tested on my personal profile. We created an image, tested it, one on Facebook, one on Instagram. The one on Instagram seemed to outperform a little bit, so we tested that one on Facebook, and as we predicted, it did very, very well. Now, if I had just went out and found a quote that I thought was cool and not kind of tested it before putting it out there, I wouldn't have been able to predict that this was going to do very well. But because I had past performance, I was able to predict future performance. And this is really what I want to stress. This is kind of the foundation of it all when it comes to social media engagement and driving engagement, is that you want to be data driven, right? You don't want to be out there guessing and wasting your time finding content and on a hunch posting it and hoping that it does well. You want to have data behind you. And if you do that, I guarantee you're going to get a lot more engagement, you're going to reach a lot more people, and you're just going to have a lot more success on social media. Because as you know, engagement leads to reach, and reach leads to clicks, and clicks lead to traffic, and traffic leads to dollars. So that's what it's all about, right? Now, let's see here. I want to step back to my personal profile a little bit and talk about what I said before, that this content was an outlier. I want to talk a little bit more about what that actually means, right? What does it mean to, what does it mean to be an outlier? How do you know if something is an outlier? How do you know if something is truly outperforming? Well, I'm going to give you some tools to just some really basic stuff to help you figure this out. So, as I said before, I don't post very often on my personal profile. Let's go over to my personal profile here. Mostly I post images of my kids. This is a good one. If you want to see my son really killing it on the sledding hill, watch this. Boom! Oh, Leonard, well done.
So cute.
I post a lot of stuff of my family, just like most of you, right? But occasionally I do post text posts and links more along my industry and stuff that's not just my family. But it's not often. So when I said that post was an outlier, what I meant is that in comparison to all of the other text posts, not to images of my kids and images of my family and images of my travels and stuff, those things are always going to do a lot better for me on my personal profile, right? They're always going to get a lot more engagement because they're more visual, they're more engaging. They're going to get more engagement than me posting a link to a social media marketing post or a post about startup business, right? Or a quote, or that I found in an article from that kind of subject matter. Those kind of photos are always going to outperform. So I can't compare the performance of this quote about the CEO and the journalist. I can't compare that post to all of the photos. What I want to compare it to is all of the text posts that I've published in a similar time period. So basically, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go look through here. You can see that I have some various text posts. Here's one that I just talked about, what I was doing with my turkey for Thanksgiving, but still, it's just a text post. I went back through here, and I found about 7 of these text posts that I've done in the last about 3 or 4 months. See here, find another one here. Right here. Here's just a simple one, right? Inventing the future is easier than predicting it by Alan Kay. I posted it on October 24th. It got 18 likes and 4 comments, no shares. That's just one example. What you can do, and what I did today, is I went back and I found about 7 of these posts, these text-based posts, and I just called up a simple spreadsheet, right? You can do this yourself. Call up a simple spreadsheet. I put 1 column for likes, 1 column for comments, and 1 column for shares. Okay, and then I took these 7 posts from the last 7 months or the last 3 months or so, and I put all the data in for those posts. Okay. Again, remember, why am I showing you this? Because we're trying to determine, like mathematically, we're trying to determine via science and statistics that post about the CEO was truly an outlier. Because if we can, I had a hunch it was an outlier. I thought, okay, it's 85 likes compared to normal 15. This is probably pretty good. But what I want to show you now is like the tool where you can actually, confirm that it's an outlier, and then you can be very confident that if you post it in the future on any other account, that it's going to kick ass. So this is how you do it. You call up a spreadsheet in Google Sheets and Google Drive. Call up a spreadsheet, put these 3 columns here, and put in all the data. Okay. Now here, what I want to do is, I love the expression when people ask me about social media engagement and what's important when it comes to engagement. I love the expression that a buddy of mine told me a couple years ago at the social media conference. He said, "Look, when my guys ask me what I'm going for, my social media managers ask me what do I want from them. I tell them, guys, likes are pennies, comments are nickels, and shares are quarters, right? So if I want to get the most money, do I want to go after pennies? Yeah, I want to go after them, but I get 25 pennies from my if I get one share, it's worth a quarter, which is 25 likes. That is to say that shares are a lot more valuable to engagement and to reach. They result in a lot more reach than just likes. You guys probably all know this, but let me run over it real quickly. If somebody likes one of your posts, then that post will be shown in the news feed to a subset of that person's friends, right? So if that person has 500 friends and that person likes your post, then Facebook is probably going to show that post in the news feed of that person's closest friends, maybe 4 or 5 of them, right? 4 or 5 of that person's 500 friends are going to have the opportunity to see that post in their news feed. If that person comments on the post, though, then Facebook's going to actually show that to more of that person's friends. So Facebook might show it in the news feed of 10 or 15 of that person's friends. But if that person actually clicks share and creates a new post, right, by sharing that original post, then Facebook's going to show that to a lot more of that person's friends. So that post is going to reach a lot more people. And that's really what I mean when we say that likes are pennies, comments are nickels, and shares are quarters, right? Shares result in 25 times at least, we're being unscientific here, but shares result in a lot more reach than a like does, right? And that's why we want to value shares at a higher rate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that exact analogy, right? I'm going to go, I'm going to create a little equation here. I'm going to say 1 times, I'll just do this from scratch so you can see how I do it. I'm going to go 1 times likes. Oops, I got to put an equal sign, sorry. Got to get my Excel skills here. 1 times likes plus 5, remember, nickels, times comments plus 25 times shares equals 40. That's what we get for this particular post. I got 15 likes and 1 share. We get a score of 40. And then here's a little secret that many Excel users probably know. I'm just going to drag that down to all 7 of these, and boom, there you go. I got all the values for all these posts, right? And I can see that this is the post that with the CEO and the journalist, right? It's got a score of 255 compared to 40, 18, 33, these other scores, okay? Now what I can do to determine whether this is an outlier or not, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go, okay, what's the average score? All right, I'm going to go average of all these. Oops, sorry. Got to get my Excel skills down here. Average of these. And what's the average? About 90. Okay, so we got the average is about 90. That's the score of all 7 of these text-based posts from my profile. The average score is 90. And again, this is the one that I thought was an outlier, this 255, right? So far it looks like I'm right. It's about almost 3 times as much as the average, which is pretty good. But they have a really good, in statistics, they have a great way to measure how much variance there is, like how far this 255 actually varies from the average. And you want to know that, because then you can be you can have a lot better data and know more about whether it's really going to outperform on other pages. And what's this measurement for variance is called standard deviation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go standard deviation, there it is, STDEV, of the same data set, and there we go. I got the standard deviation of 87. Now that doesn't mean anything. You don't have to worry about that. That doesn't tell you anything. It's just an integer right now. It's just a figure. But what I can do is I can see how far away from the mean, which is 90, this 255 was, and it's about 2 from the mean, right? It's about I can go 255 minus 88. Oops. Minus 88 equals 167, which is about twice of 87. Now, I know this is getting a little technical, but it's pretty important for you to understand this, right? How it actually works, how my mind worked when I saw that 85, right? Here's something called the bell curve. You probably all heard of this and dreaded it when you're back in school, right? You didn't want to be graded on the bell curve because the bell curve meant that, so many people got F's, a lot of people got C's in the middle, and then a very small number got A's. Like the same number of students got A's as got F's, right? This was the dreaded bell curve. You didn't want to be graded on this curve because it meant that a certain number of students were always going to fail, and an equal number would only get A's, and most people would just get C's, right? Well, this is actually from statistics. This is called a normal distribution, and it's based upon that standard deviation number that I showed you before. And remember, we saw that 255 here was 2 standard deviations above the mean, right? Above the average. It was 2 standard deviations above 90. What does that mean? Well, as you can see here, it means that 97.7% of all posts, in this case, are going to do worse than that post. The conclusion here is that I just learned that my little post about the CEO is in the 98th percentile of all posts on my personal profile, right? It's in the 98th percentile. So if I post 100 times on my profile, I'm only going to have 2 posts that get that much engagement. Now think about that for a second. If you have that much outperformance, then damn, it's statistics tells me that it's probably going to outperform in that same way on any other page, right? So that's kind of the technical explanation for why when I saw this original engagement of 85, I thought, in my mind, yeah, that's an outlier. But then I could actually do a little bit of math, kind of pretty easy math, right? I could have a little data set with likes, comments, and shares. I give them a value, I get the average, and I get the standard deviation, and I can quickly see that, whoa, this is an outlier, okay? Now, that's great. I mean, we had the statistical analysis that told us this. We found out it was in the 98th percentile. If we posted 100 times, it would only do that well one other time. That's awesome. We put it out there. We created images. We put them out there on the Post Planner fan page. They kicked ass. Well, there's one more chapter to the story here, right? Last week, just after Christmas, I was, inside of the Post Planner app, which I'm going to show you in a second. By the way, all this stuff you can do all by yourself. You don't need Post Planner. You don't need any other app to do this kind of analysis. It's real simple. It's going to take you some time, right? You're going to have to use a Google Sheet and add all the data in there, but you can do it yourself, right? Simple. And if you want me to share this with you, just let me know, and I'll share this sheet with you as a template, right? It's really easy. But the next part of the story is that this page right here, 9gag, which is a page that we have in our our popular engaging section in the app, which I'm going to show you in a second. I was inside the app like this after Christmas, and I'm told, what do I see? Hope you guys see a little similarity here. Yeah, 9gag actually somehow came across our post, and they decided that they were going to be data-driven. And they applied the exact same logic, right? And here's the post itself. They found ours. They literally took the exact same image, right? They cut off Post Planner's logo. They added this picture of Oprah and this person, I don't know who it is, as an interview. They added kind of a visual element to the interview, and they put via 9gag down there in the bottom right corner, and they posted it. Now, step back for a second and ask yourself why. Why did they post this, right? They probably just didn't, go out on a hunch and say, okay, this seems pretty cool. We'll try it and see if it works. No, they actually saw the data, the engagement levels on the original post, and that's why they decided to choose it. They might even be using our app to find these things. I wouldn't be surprised if they are. But look at the results. they put this out there. They got 600,000 likes, 4,500 comments, and 80,000 shares. Now, if you use the same, we can't see the reach on this because you can only see the reach on posts to your own pages, right? You can't see the reach of other people's pages. Facebook doesn't show that to fans and to people who aren't admins of the page. But I did some quick math, and I kind of compared it. That our post like this, it had this number, 600 likes. Actually, I did it with shares. It had 460 shares, and it reached 61,000 people, right? So I did some quick math, and this is how you do it. By the way, did you guys know you can use Google for this, right? I went in here and I did this equation right here. 177,000 reach times 407,000 times 2,200. Let me make sure that's correct. Yeah, the original post from my we had 177,000 shares. Basically, what that meant is that probably 9gag's image reached 3.3 million people. 3.3 million people, which is huge reach for them. And most importantly, remember, we started off this whole discussion of saying, look, this particular content outperformed, right? It outperformed on my personal profile. Therefore, if I post it on any other page, it's going to be in the top outperforming posts of any other page. And lo and behold, it actually is for 9gag. Now remember, 9gag has, I think, 28 million fans, right? They post a ton of content. And you can see that this is here in Post Planner. This is the order. This shows all the images that 9gag has posted in the last month and shows them in order of top engagement. And what's right there in the top left position, it is, that original content that, in its first form. Remember, this all started when I was reading an article in the morning in my apartment, right? And put it on my personal profile, and it outperformed all those other posts. Look what happens when a big page takes that same content, puts it on an image, and shares it to a much larger audience. What result do you get? You get the exact same result. You have an outlier. This is probably in the 98th percentile of all the images that 9gag has shared. In fact, if you go to all images, you can see that these are the top images of basically the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years for 9gag. And you can see 3, 6, 9, there it is, in about 10th place. So this is in the top 10 photos that 9gag has shared over the last 2 years, which is probably thousands of photos. So all of this is kind of my long-winded way of saying, being data-driven works. It works, right? Why did I tell this story? Because it demonstrates how powerful and how scientific you can be in social media. You don't just have to go out and post stuff on a hunch. You can do some simple math. You can make some simple observations and just pay attention a little bit, and you can then make an effort to only post proven content, right? Again, this went back to one simple test that I did on my personal profile, and then I based all the results that followed on the Post Planner fan page and then the 9gag fan page were all derivatives of that original post, right? They had the exact same performance. So again, this is all to say, stop finding random content with no data and no context, right? If you're out there surfing the web, you might come across an image, you might come across an article, and you might have a hunch that it's going to do well. Well, what I would try to encourage you to do is to get data on it, right? Some of the first data you can get is the share data on it. You can look at, usually when you go to an article, someone's blog post, you can see up top, how many times it's been shared on Facebook, how many times it's been shared on Twitter, how many times it's been shared on on Google Plus and Pinterest, and you can get a good idea about what the level of engagement is. Maybe it's like 3,000 shares or 500 shares. What you can then do is go to a few other blog posts on that same blog. Go to the last 5 blog posts and look at the level of engagement. Is the level, if that first post was around, let's say, 1,000 shares across all the social networks, and then you go to some other articles on that blog. For example, let's just go over here to the Post Planner blog. I'll show you how to do it. Say that you're on social media and you come across this article, and you land on this article, and you see, okay, this thing has 200 shares. It has 200 social shares across all of these social networks. And you think, oh wow, I really love this post. I think this is going to kill it on social media. And you think, yeah, okay, so it's got 200 shares, but that number is, okay, that's a data point, but you don't have any context, right? What if all of the other blog posts on this blog have gotten, get an average of 2,000 shares? What does that tell you? Well, it tells you that this post is really underperforming, right? And you can be data driven and think, oh, maybe I won't publish this because in comparison to the rest of the posts on this blog, it really hasn't done very well. So it's probably not very good content. It's obviously not resonating with an audience. So I might think twice about posting this. And again, how do you do it? You go to the blog roll where all of the blog posts are. And look, I can see right here, this last one from Rebecca has 2,100 shares, 10 times as many as that one. This one 361, this one 475, this one 426. I can do the same thing with a little spreadsheet here, right? I can go in here and I can put 2,100, 475, 333, right? And I can list those down there, get an average, right? Average those out, get a standard deviation if you want to go that far, or you can just get an average and just, and think, say that I go here and I determine that the average engagement's about 400, let's say, on the Post Planner fan page. And I go back to this post that I was at before with the 200, and then I can be like, wow, maybe that's not a good idea. Oh, well, it's 400 now. Maybe this is a different one. This one's 418, so what would my conclusion be then if the average is 400? Well, my conclusion would be that this is an average post, right? If I post this on social media, it's likely, from the data that I have and the context that I have, that this post is going to perform, averagely, right? I don't want to post things that are going to perform average, right? I want to post things that are going to perform above average. So that's just another example of how you can be more data driven. And if you are data driven and you have data and you have context around the content that you post, you're going to be more predictive. You're going to be able to predict with more confidence that the content that you put out there on social media is going to do well, and you're going to be able to stop guessing, and you're going to become more scientific. So that's this whole thing that I just described, this whole strategy of being data driven with your social media posting. This is all we do on our Post Planner fan page. Now let's go back to that page. Here's the Post Planner fan page. I promise you this is literally all we do, right? When it comes to imagery that we post on Post Planner, we only post images that are data driven. We post images that have already proven themselves to outperform. How do we do that? We use the Post Planner app, which I'll show you in a second. But the important thing is that we don't guess. We never guess about whether an image is going to do well or not. We only post images that have already done well. Okay? Let me show you the results of that. By the way, in between those images, we post our blog posts, right? Because in the end, what we want is people coming back to our blog and becoming our customers, right? So we post these proven images that get tons of engagement, increase our, what they call EdgeRank, increase our reach with Facebook, and then when we post our blog posts, they reach a lot more people, and we get a lot more clicks, and we get a lot more customers and a lot more sales, okay? Here are the insights for the Post Planner fan page. Okay, you can see we reached about 14 million people last week. Remember, our app, or I'm sorry, our Facebook, our fan page only has, it's about 300,000 fans right now. So we reached 14 million people with, you know, a page with 300,000 fans. Not too shabby. Let me give you a little context, right? You guys all know that you can go into your insights and put pages to watch, right? Check this out. Now, BuzzFeed, I'm going to delete that for now just to get the scale right. You can see that we've added a few more pages here. You know, some of our competitors, some other people in our space, like, you know, big blogs like Social Media Examiner. There's Guy right there. Just because we want to, you know, measure ourselves against some of these big influencers and these big pages and these big social media experts. And what do you see here? I'm going to delete this one for scale as well. There we go. What you see is some pretty damn good results, right? We've been data driven in our publishing, and look what the results are. We have about 300,000 fans, and what percentage of engagement do we get? Well, 65,000. That's about what, 20%. Compare that to, for example, HubSpot. HubSpot has 900,000. Now, of course, they publish a lot less. They have 900,000 fans, but they only got 746 engagement. That's like 0.01%, right? Where we're at 20%. What about a big page? Let's try Mashable, for example. Add that page up here. See how Mashable, you know, one of the best, most successful publishers out there, how they're doing. Well, they have 3 million likes, and their engagement was, you know, 224,000, so which is less than 10%. So in comparison to Mashable, we're actually outperforming them, right? We have 300,000 fans. Our engagement this week is at 20%. Their engagement is less than 10. Why do you think we've been so successful? Well, I can tell you exactly why. That's what I've been telling you the entire webinar here. It's because we're data driven. We publish stuff that has already proven itself to perform well. And you probably noticed, let me delete this again, that there's a couple other that are doing really well in this little subset of pages. The other one that's doing almost as well as us, or, you know, actually just as well in terms of percentage-wise, is this lovely lady here, Kim Garsht. Well, guess what app she uses? She uses Post Planner, and she has the exact kind of data-driven approach to her publishing. She only publishes images that have data behind them, have context behind them, and have already proven themselves scientifically to perform well. And that's why she has similar engagement levels compared to us. So there's the proof that it works, right? There's I told you kind of the whole framework behind how you do it, right? How to be data driven. Just do some basic math, get some basic context when you're deciding between content. Maybe do some basic tests. You know, remember that first test I did on my personal profile. You know, I didn't even approach that as a test. I just thought it was a cool quote. I put it on my profile, and it did really well. And then at that point, I thought, okay, well, if it does well here, then it's going to do well somewhere else. And then I decided to do it. But that, you know, you can be more intentional when it comes to that kind of thing. You can actually go and test things on your personal profile, or maybe smaller pages that you have. Maybe you have a couple really big pages that are very consequential for your business, and then you have some other smaller pages. You could test content on those smaller pages, see how it does, and then the top, you know, 5%, 2% of performers, then you could kind of graduate them up to your bigger pages, right? I know several social media marketers who do exactly this. The whole point here is that you got to be data driven, okay? So, you know, you saw the results on the Post Planner fan page. The question is, how do you do this at scale, right? How do you do this in a way where it's not just one post, right? I just spent the last 40 minutes talking about one piece of content, this CEO and journalist piece of content, right? That's pretty hard to do that, you know, 5, 6, 10 times a day when you need 10 pieces of content to post every single day, day in and day out, week after week. It's really hard to scale that kind of work, right? Well, that's really why we built Post Planner. That's why we built the app, and that's how it's made to work. So, we don't have a whole lot of time. I'm just going to show you in a couple minutes, the find section in our app. This find section here in our app, this is really everything I just explained to you. This is it right here, in automated fashion, right? So all that work, that work in the spreadsheet, those little equations I made with the averages, the standard deviations, the bell curve, the data, going in there and plugging in all the data, the likes, the comments, the shares. You can do that all yourself. I showed you how to do it. Here it is, right here, right? If you want, contact me. I'll show you. I'll share this page, this sheet with you. You can do it yourself. But I promise you, it's going to take you a lot longer than just going to Post Planner and adding any page you want here and instantly getting, the best stuff from that page. Now, for example, let's one I did recently. Let's see here. Where's a good one? Life Daily. So here's the Life Daily page. These are all the articles that they've shared on their account. Let me find a better one than this. Let's try good. Yeah, here's the good Facebook page. I think this is a relatively big Facebook page with millions of followers. Here are the top articles that they published in the last week. Now I could go over to the good website, this magazine.good.is, and I could, do the analysis that I did on the Post Planner blog and find all that data, and I could plug it into a spreadsheet, and I could calculate an average, and I could find out, which is the best stuff. Or I could just go to Post Planner and type in good, and I could find the page that way, right? Right down here somewhere. And I could plug it in, and I would get these results, and then I don't have to do all that work. And basically, you can do that for any Facebook page, any Instagram account, any Instagram hashtag, any Twitter account, and you can be, data-driven when it comes to your social media posting. Now, I actually forgot to ask you at the top of the hour to submit some pages. I was going to throw some pages in here, but I guess that's good anyway because we're kind of running out of time. So, with that, I'm gonna end today's session. The big takeaways I'll just run through one more time. Number one, don't guess when it comes to social media content. Stop guessing. Be data-driven. How do you be data-driven? Well, whenever you find a piece of content, try to find data for the piece of content, run a test with it, and find context, right? Data or context. You get data via tests, you get context via other content to the same audience. And then from there, continue to test and only choose the content that has already proven itself to perform well, and you're gonna do great. Now, next week we're going to have a similar webinar, and we're going to get more into this section here, find. I'm going to teach you how to build, for example, folders full of multiple feeds. So for example, I'm into rock climbing. I have a rock climbing Facebook page, therefore I've added a bunch of rock climbing feeds into this folder called climbing, and then I can quickly go there and I can see, for example, all the top performing photos from or articles from these pages. I'm going to get more into how that works and how you can do it. You can do it for yourself and for your industry next week. But for now, I'm gonna end today and turn it over to Rebecca.
Wow. I think that's my one word, and I get to listen to you every day, Josh, but I'll tell you, every single time you walk us through something like this where it's just really the whole process, it's mind-blowing to see the difference between being data-driven and that hit-or-miss strategy, right? It's that, maybe it's working, maybe it's not, but I don't really know. And the difference behind testing, and how just detailed you got in showing us exactly what our process was in figuring out how well is this going to perform, and then testing out the two different images, and then 9gag, took that and it just blew up.
And we could have predicted that it was going to do well for 9gag before they ever posted it, and I think that they probably did the same prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's just, such a testament to being data-driven within everything you do, and really understanding why things are performing the way they are, and then just doing more of that over and over and over again. And Kim Garst is such a fantastic example of knowing exactly what is performing well, and just giving that to her audience time and time again, day in and day out.
Yep.
So you have a ton of questions. First of all, you had a whole lot of feedback. Everybody wants your spreadsheet. So just so everybody knows, we are going to, rather than make you send individual emails to everybody, we're just going to go ahead, and Leanne had dropped that into chat, we're going to go ahead and add that to our follow-up email. Everybody that signed up for the webinar today will get an email with the replay, so you can watch Josh over and over and over again. And we'll drop the link into that email with your spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'll clean it up a little bit, make it
make it nice and pretty.
Yeah.
Ronald wanted to know if you could explain EdgeRank and really how that works.
Yeah, EdgeRank, it's pretty simple. It's really complicated when it comes to the actual equation and how it's all working technically, but it's really simple when it really comes down to it. You got to remember that Facebook has one mission, and that is to get people to spend as much time as possible on Facebook, right? And the way they do that is by measuring everything you do, right? Everything you do there on the Facebook website, they measure your likes, your clicks, your shares, whose profile you're visiting, which pages you're visiting, which videos you're watching, when you're stopping, scrolling, when you scroll right past content. Facebook's measuring all of that all the time, right? And why are they doing that? Because they want to give you, the user, the very best experience that they possibly can, right? They want to make sure that when you come to Facebook, you're seeing the very best content that they can possibly serve to you. And EdgeRank is their way of doing that, right? They're measuring what you're doing. If you click on the content from a certain page a lot, then you're signaling to Facebook that, hey, I want to see more content, or at least Facebook interprets that behavior as saying, hey, this guy wants to see more content like this from this page, therefore we're going to show more content to this from this page to this person. So that's really how you could think about it, is like you just, in the end, your imperative is that you want your fans to be clicking on your content as much as possible, because that they are signaling to Facebook, they're basically telling Facebook, I want to see more of this person's content. And EdgeRank is just the kind of equation that makes that all happen. I hope that answered the question.
No, I think that's a great answer, and it leads right into Fedor had asked a question, and I think you really answered this, but maybe you can sum it up for Fedor. He said, how can you guys at Post Planner beat EdgeRank in Facebook so we can have more engagement or visibility? And he asked, where's the trick behind it? And as you just showed, there's no trick. But maybe you can just kind of sum it up.
Yeah, we're basically just showing you, in terms of what Post Planner does, we just show you the content that's already done well on Facebook, right? So we're kind of, I mentioned before that, the signals that people are sending to Facebook about what's good, right? We're kind of getting those same signals, and then showing you the content that's already outperformed. Right? It's really as simple as that. That's pretty much the way we do it.
Awesome. And let's see, I think we had one other question that, and I'm just scrolling through here, we had a ton of chat going on during it, which I'm sure you weren't able to keep up with. Let's see. Oh, Lori asks, can you use Post Planner to look at other blogs, post engagement, and then compare it to other posts on that blog?
Yeah, you can actually enter blogs into Post Planner. Right now, we don't have blogs searchable in our search box. We're working on a better solution. Right now, you can add Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, Instagram hashtags, and then you can build those into folders as well. But when it comes to search, you can't quite search for blogs yet. We're going to be releasing that in the next week or so, where you can search for blogs. But yeah, you can add a blog you will be able to add a blog in the Post Planner, and we'll do the same exact kind of analysis that we do for content on social media accounts, so that you can quickly add a blog and know the top performing content from that blog, and then you can share it.
Yeah, great way to not only keep up with your competition, but keep up with other people within your industry and really see what are they writing about, what's performing well, how is their audience responding. And then Sam asked, what is the difference between Post Planner, Buffer, and Hootsuite?
Well, there's those other apps, Buffer, Hootsuite, and several others. They're great apps. They're all about publishing. They're all about scheduling content, right? They're all about you find content, you bring your own content, and you create posts and you schedule them into the future. Post Planner does that as well, but the real big difference between us and everyone else is that we're built for engagement. Right to our core, everything I explained at the beginning of this webinar and throughout, that's really kind of the core and foundation of our app. It's all about finding content and being able to predict that it's going to perform well and get lots of engagement on social media, because we know that engagement is a very hard thing. It's maybe the hardest thing there is when it comes to social media. People get very frustrated when they put a lot of effort into finding content or creating content, and then it gets no engagement, right? It's a pretty big pain point we see in a lot of businesses, which means that you don't reach people, you don't get clicks to your website, and you don't and social media doesn't have an ROI for you. The only way social media is going to have an ROI for you is if you get a lot of engagement on your posts and get a lot of clicks going back to your website where you can sell products and services. So we have to our core, our fundamental goal with the app is to help you get engagement on social media so you can drive more business.
Lori asks, this is kind of a follow-up question to the blog, adding the blogs in. She said, so would we be able to add our own feed and then share our top posts on other pages that we admin with this blog feature? Yeah.
You can do that now. At least you can add your own Facebook page, any of your Facebook pages, any of your Twitter accounts, any of your Instagram accounts. You can add those to Post Planner right now. Just go up there in that search box and add them, and we'll quickly show you the top performing articles and the top performing images from that page. Soon you will be able to add your blog too, so you can just take your RSS feed of your blog, plug it into Post Planner, and we'll show you the top performing articles from your blog and from any other blog that you add.
Awesome. All right, well, we are right at the top of the hour, so just a reminder to everybody that is here, if you signed up, the link will be exactly the same for next week's training. And next week, so it's Wednesday, January 13th, so same day, Wednesday, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and the topic is finding amazing content that's really going to drive this engagement that Josh has been talking about today. So much deeper dive into finding and really identifying that top performing content. And Josh, I can't begin to tell you just how that all of the amazing feedback you're getting here today and just how valuable everything that you shared was. So
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah.
In the end, I just want to help you guys, get more engagement on Facebook so you can, drive business and make more sales. So whatever I can do to help you do that, that's what I'm here for on these webinars.
Yeah.
I know it got a little wonky today, a little technical sometime. Probably you guys thought maybe you had a statistics class in college, and at the end of that class you thought, damn, I hope I never hear about a standard deviation again in my life. Right? But I just dropped standard deviation on you again. So, and it's important. So,
well, I think what's important is you shared with us today something you're not going to find anywhere else. It's nothing anybody else is talking about, because as we say so often at Post Planner, we eat the dog food. We do exactly, behind the scenes with Post Planner, and it's no longer behind the scenes. You shared it all, today, exactly what we're doing and exactly why our good friends, over at Buffer found that people that use Post Planner get 650% more engagement.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's
if we can't build something that works for us, and if we can't build something that we can prove works, then we're not going to build it. So you can trust that if you're using a Post Planner product, that that the people who build it are using it for the exact same way that you are using it, and testing it all the time. And if it's failing for us, then it will fail for you. And if it's successful for us, then it's going to be successful for you. And I can tell you today, it's been really successful, and that going forward, it's going to get 10 times as powerful over the next year. We're working on some really amazing stuff right now.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, to everybody that's watching live, thank you so much for being here, for all of your fantastic questions. We would love to see you become a part of the Post Planner family. If you're not already, you can see the offer right there on the right-hand side, I believe to my right. Basically, it's $7 per month. That is less than 23 cents per day. To get started today with Post Planner and get everything that Josh has been talking about, and that 650% more engagement that I just shared. That Buffer is the one that analyzed 500. How many posts was it? I'm trying to remember.
500 million
posts. Yeah, and out of all of the competition out there, Post Planner users get 650% more engagement. So just absolutely incredible stats. And as I said, we'd love to see you over there, so make sure you take advantage of that special offer for you here today. And then don't miss next week's, as I said, it's on Wednesday, January 13th. We will send you the replay. We'll also be sending you information on the next one, and you can keep up with us on Facebook, across social media. Would love to see you there as well. So Josh, thank you again, and until next week.
Guys.
Yeah, we'll
see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.